Hi there, my friend. You know how we all often have these demons lurking in the closet of our subconscious mind, the things that we've buried. Typically, it's an old event, something that happened in the past that we'd rather not talk about, and we want to pretend that it's not there. We stuff it away and try not to think about it, but we know it's there. These are the difficult experiences in our lives that have shaped us. They've marked us for better or worse. And, in these cases, when we try to keep them hidden, it's because they've been painful and they've affected us in a significant way. And so, what I want to talk about today is that even though we like to pretend as though those things aren't there, those events didn't happen, they're there, and we know that they're having an effect. And we know that we would be better off if we were to do something about it. But we don't know what to do. We don't know where to start. So today I want to walk you through a process, a journey, which is the process that I took myself through. It's the process I take my clients through. But because this is a heavy topic, I want to do it in kind of a fun, light way. And I'm recruiting the help of Princess Leia. You see, there's a scene in The Return of the Jedi where Princess Leia frees herself from being chained to Jabba the Hut. She has been captured when she tried to free Han Solo, and she was chained, put in a bikini, and chained to Jabba the Hut as a slave. And in this scene, she frees herself. And I want to walk you through what happens, what are the stages in Princess Leia slaying Jabba the Hutt and freeing herself, because that journey kind of lays out the path that we too need to follow in order to slay our own inner Jabba the Hutt, our own inner demons, our own wounds and hurts that are keeping us prisoner. Because very much like Leia chained to the monster, we're kind of tethered to those unresolved wounds, unresolved memories, those places where we're still hurt from something in the past. So here we have Leia chained to Jabba. And I love this whole scene from beginning to end because it's an excellent metaphor for how we each have the power to slay the monsters that keep us captive. So we're going to go step by step through the journey that Leia goes through from being a slave to finally freeing herself, liberating herself from captivity, and look at the steps because they're the same steps that we each need to follow to liberate ourselves. So let's have a little bit of fun with this. Let's begin. The first step is to assess the situation. Leia is alert. She's taking stock of her situation. She doesn't act too soon because she clearly assesses the situation and her chances of resolving her predicament. It's only when she has support and the conditions are ripe that she takes action. But you can see her checking out what's happening around her and seeing the reality of where she is. In your case, you too have to take stock. What's your situation? What's the monster that you haven't dealt with and still lurks in the background of your mind? You can't resolve anything that you're unwilling to look at. You have to look at it. When I walk people through the process of looking at their inner demons, I call this opening the closet. You open up the closet where you've been hiding your story and you pull it out so you can see what you're tackling. And the best way to open and take stock of your inner closet is through writing, because it helps you focus and not fall too deeply into the intense feelings you likely have about this story. I use a very intentional writing exercise that helps people assess even the most painful and difficult of stories while still staying centered. So you take stock of the situation through writing. The next step is envisioning the outcome. Even as she's chained to Jabba, we can be certain that Leia holds onto the intention of freeing herself. She doesn't know when or how she'll do it, but she sees herself free. And this is key to having a successful outcome. You have to have a vision for what resolving your story might be like. I always have people craft their vision early in their journey. Here's where drawing and collages can be really wonderful. As a hypnotherapist, I can tell you that it's a vitally important step. Your subconscious mind needs a destination to move towards. Leia knows she's moving towards freedom. She's just not sure how it's going to happen, but that's the vision that she's holding for herself. You have to envision what your outcome is, and this is something that we often don't do. The next step is to shift to a new perspective so you can find your source of power. The scene in the movie is pure storytelling perfection. When the conditions are right and Leia is supported by Luke and Lando and Chewie, and now that Han has also been freed, they're all keeping Jabba's guards busy fighting them, so she has the opportunity now. She runs around to Jabba's back, obviously wrapping her chain around him. She's literally moved to a new perspective. From behind Jabba, her new point of view, she finds her source of power. She slings the chain again over his head, and now she strangles him. And you can see her pulling with all of her strength and pulling on the chain, and she slays Jabba the Hut. In order to find your own power over your story, you too need to shift your perspective. This is the critical turning point. You can't resolve your story, your past hurts, from your current point of view. You need to change perspective so you no longer see yourself as the victim in your story. Now, this isn't something that you can force yourself into or simply flip a switch and get there. I do this through a beautifully elegant writing exercise that gently moves people to the place where they naturally find their own power in the story. I've shared this exercise with my blog readers before, but it's more than we can get into right now. So you have to shift perspectives so you can find your source of power. The next step is forgiveness. Forgiveness equals freedom. And you look at the scene and you might say, but there's no forgiveness in the Leia scene. She kills Jabba and he deserves to be dead. She doesn't forgive him. But here's the metaphor for forgiveness, because Leia asks R2 to help her cut the chain so she can free herself. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself. The common interpretation of forgiveness that most people have isn't helpful. Many people see forgiveness as the equivalent to exonerating someone from the harm they've caused you or somebody else. People feel as though forgiving is equivalent to saying, it's okay, it doesn't matter. But that's not really what forgiveness is about. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the pain. Not forgiving is akin to Leia staying chained to a dead Jabba the Hutt and dragging him around. Think about how many things you're dragging around when you don't forgive. Forgiveness is a beautiful transformative process. When I facilitate this process, I take people through several steps that involve writing, visualization, and a powerful hypnosis-like clearing. In that way, I'm kind of your R2-D2 helping you cut the chains, but you're the one who grabs the chains and says, I'm ready to be free of this. This is one of the most transformative experiences anyone can have, is moving through all of the layers of forgiveness so you can truly free yourself. So then the next step that you get to after you do this is accessing a new identity. You get to a new place of being. In the movie, Leia returns to being her warrior self. With the extra earned stripes, of course, of now having slayed Jabba, you can imagine all of the self-confidence and personal power she's gained from this, not to mention the enormous relief of freeing herself of the chains. This is what happens when you move through a deep process of forgiveness and flip your story on its head. When you come to the other side, you discover an extraordinary source of strength. You see your old monsters slayed in front of you, and you're no longer in pain or afraid. With a new sense of power comes a huge amount of excitement for the future. So the next, and I would say final step in this process, is releasing the baggage and writing a new chapter. After the battle, the next time we see Leia, she's changed into her military uniform. In this scene, she's in the rebel briefing and they're talking about the next strategy of attack. Now, we didn't see this in the movie, but clearly she's taken off and probably destroyed the slave outfit that she had been forced to wear. Now that she's completely done with that story, she destroys and gets rid of every trace of evidence. And the slaying of your own inner demons, the release of the baggage, is a little bit more subtle than that. What I like to do is to create an actual fire to burn all symbols of your old story. I often have people burn the pages where they wrote their stories, and this is a really powerful step because the subconscious mind, where memories are stored, loves symbolism. So when you burn something with true intention, it can have a powerful transformative effect. When you're free from the baggage of the story, you won't believe the amount of energy, excitement, and space that all of a sudden is available to you. And now you have all of this energy to write and create the next chapter of your story. You're no longer the victim of your old monster, the old way of looking at the story. You've destroyed it, you've liberated yourself from it, and now you're ready for the next epic adventure of your life. So what do you think? This is obviously a really short explanation of a process that can take a few days. I actually walk people through it over the course of 3.5 days. But I want to share more with you. I'm hosting a free evening chat, a cozy evening chat on the topic of forgiveness, because this is a really rich, deep, and meaningful conversation that is very important to have. And I want to invite you to join me so you can find the link to get all of the information about that free call underneath this video. And if you're watching this after the live call has happened, I'm sure you can find the recording underneath the video as well. So you can start taking some action, because it's very important that we all free ourselves from the chains that tether us to those old wounds, those old monsters that we keep dragging around with us. And, you know, they're slowing us down. They're affecting a lot of the different areas of our lives, and we can do this. You can do this. So check out the call, join me, and if you like, send me a note, and I'd be happy to tell you more about how I do this process. Take care.